Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we are going to be highlighting some deck options that you can take forth for the standard metagame challenge that's on MTG Arena this weekend. The challenge is basically you throw in some gold, some gems, whatever you want. In terms of currency, you compete it out in a best of 3 standard format until you lose a game, and then you win packs. So if you get 7 wins, I believe you get 30 packs. Normally what we do is with the meta breakdown, we look at the top performing decks each week based on untapped data. Still kind of locked out of that data. I'm hoping in the next day or so we can get access to that so we can see individualized win rates on the ladder. In lieu of that, what we are doing is I've kind of curated some of folks' decks that I found off the internet, a number of different sites, MTG Arena Zone, folks that Fire Shoes on Twitter retweeted. Also follow Fire Shoes if you haven't done so. It's like the one-stop shop of everything Magic. But it kind of gave a gambit of different decks of folks that have been performing well in Mythic rank or on like MTGO leagues. We'll just jump into it. The first deck is a Orzhov Midrange deck. I'll post the links in the video description as well as it'll give credit to the individuals who have come up with these decks so you can see who posted it, everything like that. So this is an Orzhov Midrange deck. It's kind of a black-based cards are the crux of a lot of this meta. This version is looking to play a mid-range game with white cards added in. So you do have access to stuff like your Lilianas, your Tenacious Underdogs, your Graveyard Trespassers, some number of Invoke Despair, Shieldred, and Meathook Massacre. Also the removal package, Cut Down, and Infernal Grasp. You're offsetting this with white cards in terms of Ambitious Farmhand, a way to get advantage of in terms of lands. It's a way also that can gain you life through the Coven ability to transform. Cathar Commando flashes in, it's good body, and in terms of being a little bit more aggressively slanted, there's a lot of artifacts and enchantments going around the format, so a way to kind of kill those things. Also plays really nice with Sarah Paragon, where you can rebuy that type of effect and get some utility in that regard. We also have Edgar Charmed Groom as another difficult to kill, so there's not so much exile removal in the format outside of Wandering Emperor. Instead of that, we are playing Edgar. It comes back, gives you tokens, gets some value like that. And then we are a Wedding Announcement deck in this case. Another way to kind of go wide and provide you some utility in terms of, like, say, a Liliana minus. They're not able to hit you in that respect, so you can kind of go from there. Mana base, you get some utility lands and the cycling lands, and then this is one of the decks that does have access to Cave. Your sideboard, you got some grind elements in Elspeth, Lieza, Junji, some more removal in various capacities, depending on the matchup, and some hand discard. We then move to a mono-green aggro list. So we don't have Blizzard Brawl anymore, but we got some other new additions to the deck. We have Quirion Beastcaller. This card gets bigger after each creature that you cast, and then it redistributes its counters when it dies. Llanowar Loam Speaker is a way to ramp early in terms of color fixing as well. You'll see a splash of black for duress in the sideboard, but it also lets you activate lands late game as another hasty threat in terms of a 3/3 body. Jewel Thief is a 2-drop that gets around Wandering Emperor. You'll notice there's a number of vigilance creatures here which are relevant against that. Trample is also a keyword in this. You got Cemetery Prowler that eats graveyards, Trample with Uvenwall Oddity, a couple of Defilers on the top end. This card's very powerful, but oftentimes it's the top of your curve. So it is somewhat, it's usually the last card you play. Safekeeping as protection, Tail Swipe as fight. We see a 1 of Threats Undetected, which just is like Gifts Ungiven, buffer creatures. Invoke the Ancients is some more top end with a Natural Growth and Bankbuster for grind. You see the black mana here. Also, this produces black mana for the duress. And then your sideboard, you got graveyard, like Artifact Enchantment Hate in the Liberators, as well as Terror Sunder. More graveyard hate in Prowler, grind in the Bankbuster, protection, and then I guess it's like a creature that when it dies, it leaves a body behind. You might want to play like the Rhino instead, the Thragtusk at home, but interesting to see Kura in the sideboard here. The next deck is a Stephen Croquis special. It's a 4-color mid-range. It is a bunch of good cards jammed together that surprisingly have synergy. Lord of Windgrace lets you play lands out of your graveyard. You'll notice that there's some copies of like the slow fetch lands that gain life to kind of fix your mana base. You could throw cards into your graveyard with like Fable, various ways like that. Teachings, mills cards as well. And then that lets you Cruelty of Gix to get back Titan of Industry. You got Golden Argosy that can blink your stuff to reset like Soul Canar. And then you just got like good cards, some removal in here, Bankbuster for grind, Terra Sunder, some meat hooks. You can tutor a bunch of these kind of one of effects or two ofs with the Cruelty of Gix as well. And then your sideboard's just got a bunch of like counter spells. So basically a Jund deck, splash blue for some counters that play into the mirror, and then like Kaido for grind value as well. Then we have standard Grixis, another deck very similar. You don't get it's kind of got like a vampire sub theme. Some of these you'll see, this version doesn't have it, but Evelyn will be played in some of these just as a way to kind of break these mirrors, but very similar. You're basically playing red-black with Make Disappear, Rona's Vortex, and the Corpse Appraiser, which gives you some utility in terms of card advantage. Another good card to kind of blink off the Fable, the Mirror Breaker. More counters in the sideboard, and then just more removal and grind as relevant. We have from the Pizza Box Open, another tournament series that Hollywood Pizza runs. If you haven't seen that, check him out. This is a Mardu midrange. You'll notice a lot of these decks start with black and they add another color in. This version white and red. You're getting like your Sarah Paragons, your Wandering Emperors, Spirited Companion can be rebought with that. You got Archangel of Wrath, Lieza, Voltage Surge. So just a bunch of kind of cards we've seen and just like variations. Burn Down the House is good against mono black. Temporary Lockdown versus Aggro. Some Farewells kind of scattered in there as well. Then moving to Twitter, this is a mono Blacklist from Jub77. This is probably what a lot of folks have been seeing on the ladder right now. Just a lot of individually good cards, Invoke Despair on the top end, and just a lot of ways to kind of 2-for-1 your opponent, grind them out of the game in that respect. Lastly, this is mono red by Will Irks, I believe. He's had 2 5-0 runs on MTGO. Is there a visual view here? Visual view. Haha! So we got like Phoenix Chick, Bloodthirsty Adversary, Cemetery Gatekeeper is a way to hate the graveyard, Rada's Firebrand to get around blockers, Reckless Stormseeker, Thundering Raiju, Kumanos, play with Fire Lightning Strike. Pretty clean deck. You got some copies of Squee hiding out down here as well. Interesting, Crystal Grotto is being used as a scry effect. And then with your sideboard, you have stuff to hedge matchups like Shieldred with Rending Flame, dealing 5 damage. Chandra's Just to Kill to grind, Graveyard Hate, Artifact, Creature Hate, in just terms of removal like that. So that wraps it up. Let me know in the comments if you do get a good run. We'll feature your deck kind of highlighted there. But let me know what you're going to be taking to the challenge and what's been working for you in best 3. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one and stay safe out there.